Hello and welcome back to the Concept Checkup. The point of Concept Checkup is to dive into the Warframe forums, look for a community-made Warframe concept, and talk about it. For the purpose of Concept Checkup, I will use my custom-built evaluating method known as AS. Without further ado, let's begin the checkup. For today's checkup we have Nascent, the Sentient Warframe. Nascent was created by Kiwi Hugs on the Warframe subreddit, and is designed to be partly a supportive and partly a damaging Warframe. Nascent possesses below-average health, above-average shields, below-average armor, and above-average energy capacity. Similar to how Hero was created as a supportive Warframe with damage at the cost of shields, Nascent is capable of assisting his team at the cost of his health or shields, with different effects. Nascent's first ability is Oculus Gaze. Upon activation, afflicted enemies gain weak spots that deal additional damage when struck upon. Free additional damage is always a good thing to have, but in situations where Banshee and Helios do a great job as is of giving free additional damage, I see little reason to have this ability in the first place. Unless Oculus Gaze spawns a short-duration weak spot that deals massive damage, or unless Oculus Gaze had additional effects such as armor shred or status effect application, I see little reason to have this as an ability. Nascent's second ability is Concussed Force. Nascent continuously pulls in all nearby enemies towards him, draining their shields alongside his own. Concussed Force feels like a side grade of Inaros' Whirlwind. Rather than dealing flat damage, Concussed Force drains shields at the cost of shields. Draining only shields makes Concussed Force sort of a corpus-only ability, which is something that should never be the case unless the Warframe in question has alternate abilities in its kit. Armor is the biggest obstacle that players have to overcome in the high levels, and having a shield-draining ability does little if anything to assist players in that regard. Because of that, Concussed Force might be better off being both a shield and armor-draining ability, so as to have practicality against high-level Grineer in addition to high-level Corpus. To avoid being one-shot during Concussed Force, Nascent should gain some damage reduction if not damage immunity, given that he sacrifices his shields for only crowd control. Nascent's third ability is Ballast Cry. Nascent releases lasers that fire in all directions, applying different status effects per hit on each enemy. Ballast Cry is either an amazing ability or a mediocre ability, depending on what its description actually means. If Ballast Cry applies random status effects on each enemy per hit, then it could be called nothing more than an RNG-based ability, which might be fine for an ability designed to gather loot such as with Necros, but for crowd control, no. Ballast Cry would either be dogshit or fantastic per usage if it applies random status effects per hit. Being able to potentially apply radiation, corrosive, and blast on multiple enemies at once sounds absolutely incredible, but at the same time, you run the risk of applying useless procs on enemies such as impact or magnetic. If Ballast Cry applies a specific status effect for each new hit on an enemy, then it would certainly be a fantastic ability. Being able to potentially apply something like slash followed by blast followed by corrosive followed by radiation in a large area to multiple enemies at once would be incredibly useful in high levels, but an ability of that power runs the risk of overshadowing other crowd-controlling abilities in the game, namely literally everything that Vauban has. Nascent's fourth ability is Tao Ascent. Upon activation, Nascent gains stacks per second. Each stack drains his health, but increases his strength, with each passing second granting more and more stacks. Tao Ascent is the textbook definition of glass cannon. Nascent already possesses low health and armor, which isn't necessarily bad, but having an ability that allows you to potentially one-shot enemies when used in conjunction with damage-increasing abilities such as Oculus Gaze or Banshee's Sonar at the cost of you yourself being potentially one-shot by anything, that sounds ridiculously fun. Because of Nascent's low stats, the way to get the most usage out of Tao Ascent might be to pair Nascent with a healing Warframe, such as Oberon's health per second and instant revive from Phoenix Renewal, or from Trinity's damage reduction from Blessing. Either option would do wonders to counteract Nascent's piss-poor health. Being able to potentially one-shot everything at the cost of potentially being at 10 health total sounds stupid yet totally fun. Tao Ascent would be what I would call a skill-based ability, meaning that new players might do nothing but spam Tao Ascent, causing them to be slain over and over. Alternatively, Experienced players might only use Tao Ascent when playing in areas where enemies aren't high level or when playing with friends or supportive warframes that keep Nascent alive. Regardless, here are Nascent's scores. Issues can be found in every ability in Nascent's kit. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but in order to be a better concept, Nascent needs to be better thought out as well as clarified in terms of ability descriptions. For my personal thoughts, although I'm not sure if a Sentient Warframe is even possible with our current lore, I wouldn't mind seeing one be added. However, the problem with Nascent as a concept is not his lack of a passive or lack of numbers behind his abilities, but his abilities in general. Every single power in his kit suffers from either not being clear enough on what it does to simply just being underpowered. A big once-over is required for Nascent if he's to be a fantastic concept. I'm not saying he's a bad concept, because he certainly isn't, it's just that if Nascent as a concept should be taken seriously, he needs finalization on each and every part of his kit, as well as numbers behind them and a passive at that. Thank you for watching.